Good morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined again by Hank Goldberg, our regular Wednesday morning session. Hank, good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Baseball was good yesterday. I had 4 out of 5. That was nice. And basketball comes up tonight. I have a side and total in that one. And tomorrow, of course, we get back to the hockey. And the Knights have to pick up the pieces and brush off the blood all over them from that thrashing they got in Washington.
I did well in basketball the other night. I had Golden State in the over in their last game. Came through, and tonight I think it's all the money seems to be on Cleveland. And what Cleveland's going to need is for a couple of the guys who have not done very much to come through with some of their outside shooting if they're going to win. The one guy who has been invisible has been their normal sharpshooter from outside, who just has not done a thing so far in this series. But he's back on his home court. And he's a great sixth man, and he can come in and give him some scoring. He needs to do that.
Yeah, Corver has not shown up at all.
Corver's, they need him for his outside shooting if they're going to be successful. And Love has to have a good game, and of course Smith. I think LeBron can't do it all. He's going to need help.
Well, Hill had a good game last time. They didn't get a great game from Love. Smith has done the disappearing act. But they're going to start Hood tonight, or play Hood tonight. And that's kind of unusual. They haven't played him very much. Do you have any reason why this guy has not played? Because he's, in the past, he's had some good, experience in the NBA, but for Cleveland, they just don't use him.
They must have a reason. I don't know what it is, but they're relying on Love, and of course he's been hurt off and on, but they need him for his outside shooting and his defense and his rebounding, and that's a lot. But he's got to come through for them too. So. They're relying. Is Iguodala going to play tonight? He's questionable. He's been upgraded, but if he plays, I don't know how much he'll play.
Yeah, they said game 3 or game 4, so we don't know much about that. But I think Cleveland will show up. I think they'll give a great effort. They're totally outmanned if the Golden State Warriors come to play. If they give their A game, you're not going to beat them. But they don't always give their A game. At least this year, the 2018 version is not as intense or as focused all the time. So you get those games where they turn the ball over a lot, get a little sloppy, then they become vulnerable. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but it did in the Houston series and prior to that too. So the points are probably worth taking, giving this team a shot to win a game, and maybe 2. But winning 1 would be monumental. They had a good chance in game 1. They blew that. But it is what it is. The baseball has been humming along pretty good. You've been right about the Washington Caps all along, and you said that they were the better team. And of course, the Knights. You said it before. What did you say about the Las Vegas books?
Well, they figured they were going to take the biggest beating in the history of the sports books out there if the Knights won. But I think they're getting a big collective sigh of relief because they're not going to win. And Washington is just too quick for them, and their goalie is on fire. That's what happens in these series when the goalie gets hot. And they really shut them down, and their power play has been insurmountable. And hey, they had a 5-on-3. Las Vegas had a 5-on-3 edge on them the other night and couldn't do anything with it. So they're just being outskated seriously in this series. It's interesting. I had talked to one of the with a network I had given them an idea to talk to the Raiders about if they're observing the pregame shows to see how they're going to present Las Vegas when they move down there, and they didn't want to be interviewed for that subject.
Oh, really?
Thought that was interesting. They turned it down.
Wow. Wow.
The other thing, talking about baseball, the National League West is really shaping up. Bumgarner came back and pitched a great game last night for San Francisco, and he's going to help them a lot. And the other, that's a competitive division right now. Of course, the Dodgers are in trouble if Kershaw can't get healthy, but that's an interesting race out there. And Atlanta, as I told you, is for real. They've been held up against everybody. Last night they had a great game, and they've been a good play.
That was the only loser I had last night. Was I had the under in that thing, and it was over in about the third inning. It was crushed. But that was the only game I lost.
I just played Atlanta last night, and they were a good play. I mean, they weren't my only play. I didn't play the total.
Baseball's shaping up. It's getting the heat of the summer, and the pitchers are really getting into form. There's some good underdog spots and a lot of total spots that you can really cash in on. We've both been doing that.
Yeah, I had a good night last night too. I had the Yankees. I had Atlanta. I'll tell you, Houston's pitching staff, there are a couple of guys there who haven't been producing very well. And that's something to keep an eye on.
Well, the Houston
Keuchel has not been very good.
No, they've had a couple. Of course, Verlander might be the best pitcher in baseball, but their bullpen is horrible.
The best pitcher in baseball right now is pitching for Washington. He's unbeatable.
Yeah, well, you're talking Scherzer, but Verlander gives him a tussle. He's right there with him. Scherzer has been actually incredible. I agree. I misspoke there. But the Astros bullpen is a disaster. And they're going to have to find an answer to that because, I mean, even last year in the World Series, they didn't even use their bullpen. They had to use starters. And it's continuing. They're not very good. When you get these matchups with Houston, and it looks like the game might be an underplay, you almost can't play it under because when they get to their bullpen, they give up runs like it's candy. So it's a very difficult proposition from a standpoint of, I mean, there's a lot of value in betting against them because when they get to the late innings, those closers aren't closing. So that's a big issue for them.
And as far as football concerned, big story was that the invitation to the White House was canceled for Philadelphia, and I don't think anybody's going to go. I think there's a precedent there. Whoever wins the NBA won't show either.
Well, they did announce that yesterday, and they said that Curry and LeBron both said that no matter who wins, they're not going to the White House. It's a controversial president, and that the nation is divided over a lot of issues right now. I'm not going to get political about it, but it's not a good thing for our country, and I hope somehow we get it back together. But now that there's so many issues that the ratings and stuff for the NFL, I don't want to see that being affected, but I guess it's going to be with all this controversy about the anthem. So they just kind of get out of the way to watch it happen because we can't do anything about it anyway. So. Anyway.
I'm still not convinced that the anthem is a big reason why people aren't watching football. Let's talk about the opening of the gambling season yesterday in Delaware. They started sports betting to an empty house. There was nobody there. The governor made the first bet.
And he won.
Yeah, he won at Philadelphia, which is a joke. I mean, but anyway, there was no turnout. People aren't going to drive from Philadelphia down to Wilmington to bet baseball games, and there's going to be a limit on the amount that they're going to take for football bets, from what I'm told, and it's going to be $1,000 limit. You know, I was with Vic Salerno Friday night, and we were talking about it, and Vic has been around the block a few times, and you know, all these British companies that are the William Hill company that is handling Monmouth, and by the way, Monmouth legislature voted down that extra tax for the leagues yesterday, so they're going to open, and there won't be the tax in addition. You won't have to pay more big. But anyway, and they're saying that they're going to do billions of dollars long term. It's a joke because they're way overstating how much money they're going to take in. And if they're going to have $1,000 limits, you know, first of all, it's not going to hurt Las Vegas in the slightest. Vegas doesn't have limits on college betting. You know, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who said, he'll take a $500,000 bet on a college game. He's done it in the past. But $1,000 limits in Maryland and Delaware is not going to entice anybody because you can still bet more and you can still extend credit. And the credit aspect of it is very big and very important. And what Vic said is very true. The British companies that are in this business don't understand the American betting public, which is the reason why William Hill is losing so much money in Las Vegas.
Hank, are they going to, I'm assuming, and a lot of times when you assume anything, you're wrong, but...
By the way, there's no integrity tax in Jersey. They're not doing it.
Yeah, and that integrity word should never have been used. It's a stupid idea, and them asking for a tax was stupid too. But what about phone betting and apps? These places, I mean, Jersey and Delaware, all the other states are probably going to have phone betting and apps with deposit money put up. I would imagine. I'm imagining that. I don't know it to be true, but what do you hear?
I don't think it's true. You have to go to the track and make the bet.
Well, then that's not going to be successful. You'll only be successful on big racing days when there's a lot of people there, but that otherwise it won't be successful if that's the case. But,
well, they're going to make money with it, but not the kind of money that they're talking about.
Right. One thing it's going to do is bring out of the woodwork players that aren't really players, and it'll create more players, which is good for the offshores. Probably do really well as a result because they don't have the limits like you mentioned. So,
but it's not going to hurt Las Vegas.
Oh, God, no. It's not going to hurt Las Vegas at all. Las Vegas will not be hurt at all by that. And then the one thing that not everybody talks about, being a poker player at the level that I am, which isn't that high, but it's going to bring poker back. Online poker will probably come back because this law being banned, the ban on sports betting is what I think is going to carry over to poker, and I'm going to go along with Mark Cuban. Poker is going to come back. Online poker will grow, and that's good for me because I play a lot of poker, and when they banned the online, I stopped playing quite a bit. So, and it's a big money maker if you're any good at it.
Well, we'll see how it goes, but Vic and Art, and there were a couple other people who were in the sports betting business. I had dinner with 6 of them Friday night and Saturday night. Are not all that optimistic about how fast this is going to grow, and these, I mean, the New Jersey people raising is saying they're going to do billions of dollars. It's a joke.
Yeah, it is a joke. It's going to take 3 to 5 years for this thing to really blossom, and then we'll have to see. And there'll be a lot of changes, and there'll be a lot of battles in the court over taxes, and integrities and all those things, which is what happens when you get politicians involved. But anyway, Hank, anything more before we got, in a couple days, we'd only have a big race coming up?
Yeah, they had the draw yesterday, and Justify is a 4-5 favorite. Nick Zito and I were talking about it yesterday, and he said the negatives with Justify are that he's coming off a very strenuous race off a tiring track, and 5 races since February 18th is a lot. That's the negatives. The positive is he's much the best.
Yeah, it's a grind. Definitely a grind. Who are the...
And you know what? This isn't a great field, 3-year-old, so far. I mean, the horses, Todd Fletcher has 2 horses in the race. Both of them were taken out of the Derby immediately because they were in post 18 and 19, and they couldn't run their race on that sloppy track from those 2 outside posts. Vino Rosso, who a lot of people like because he's bred, to run distance, he hasn't beaten anybody. He won the Wood Memorial against a very weak field, but he's a horse that a lot of people are talking about, and a lot of people like. I'm not that high on him, but Todd has won 3 of these Belmonts, and he's got 2 horses in here. One of them's a speed horse who figures to be on the lead. Noble Indy, he won the Louisiana Derby, and he's got an outside post, and there is a little bit of speed inside of him. Lucas's horse is Wayne likes his horse. He says he's strong. I'm not sold on him for this race. The horse I like won the Peter Pan, got a jockey who's unfamiliar with, not that familiar with that Belmont course. I like the horse. I'm not crazy about the rider. I think Billy Mott's horse could run big, and he's got a similar background that Nick's horse did when he beat Smarty Jones. He's been training in Saratoga, and he had a trouble trip at the Derby, and he's only 9-2. So, but that's the way it shapes up right now.
Okay, it should be interesting. We'll wait for your official selections later in the week.
I gave them out this morning on our service, and people can start calling in now.
All right, that's even better. jimfeist.com, and go get those plays right away. Hank, thank you very much for today. We'll talk to you again on Friday.
All right, Jim. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks, Hank.
Okay, yeah, I gave it to Mike today.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Okay.